Welcome, everybody, to the Seattle Sports Union podcast. My name is Abraham DeWeese. With me is Brian Soulman Solack and Matthew Paige.
Good evening. How you guys doing?
Hey, guys.
All right, guys. Let's take a quick look at what's going on with Seattle sports this year last week. I have a bunch of questions, and I need answers, guys. Let's start with the Seattle Seahawks game. 21-20 win. That's a good thing. That's a win.
Technically, it's a W.
It's a W. Did you guys feel the way I did, that it wasn't the smashing, the backside kicking that I expected it to be?
Yes, it was a terrible game in my opinion. A W is a W, but it's only because Russell Wilson has God on his side is why we won. That is my summary right there. We were awful on defense. If we had anybody but Russell Wilson on offense, I guarantee we would have lost.
I like that excuse about Russell Wilson. It has to be true because we played like, if our team had played competently, we would have won this game 45-20. But we were making mistakes left and right. We were being dumb. And there was a few weird calls, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Do you mean play calls or?
Well, the play calling was the most bland. Schottenheimer has not impressed me. This is his second year now.
Correct.
as our offensive coordinator. He has not impressed me. Except I was shocked to see a screen pass at one point, and it worked.
As Mr. Spock would say, fascinating.
Yes, and fascinating indeed.
That was actually my reaction.
No, but here's the kicker, and this will surprise no one. He then followed it up by never doing another screen ever again, even though it worked really well.
Well, one screen is brilliance. Two screens, that's just extravagance. And living in these puritanical times that we do, we can't have more than one, right?
No, you are correct. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just thinking that Brian Schottenheimer was probably a Calvinist at heart, and he probably wears little shoes with buckles on them because he's that conservative. I'm sorry. Okay, there's a hat with a buckle on it too, and he makes turkey dinners around Thanksgiving. That's kind of like if I were to give him a metaphor. If that's a metaphor for who he is. Am I wrong?
No. He's obviously very, conservative and pro-austerity, and you can't afford those kind of luxury or those kind of plays. What are you talking about?
Great summary, boss, man. We should talk about the defense now. I thought our pass defense was ferocious.
The pass defense was pretty bad. Tedrick Thompson, did you guys see this week? He mysteriously got a hamstring injury right after that pretty poor performance.
Is he trying to say that that's why he missed defending that ball when John Ross caught the touchdown pass? That was like so easy to block, and it just kind of came in like a lob, and we were playing Fires Up at that point. And John Ross was just standing like 10 feet behind him, and apparently Thompson thought he could jump 50 feet in the air.
I like that reference, Flyers Up. I haven't heard that in years.
Yeah, there's also another game we used to play, but it has a less PC term. That performance was pretty bad, but it wasn't just him. Your guy, your boy Matthew Paige, your man, your Ugo Amadi got run over by McDougal that game.
He got the wind knocked out of him. I was worried. I was really concerned for a short period there that he might be hurt, but I think he just got the wind absolutely just knocked out because he didn't see it coming. And he did get absolutely run over.
Wasn't just the wind knocked out of him. He's actually out for this game, or at least he's considered questionable because he hurt his shoulder. And he had to wear a shoulder brace earlier this week. Okay. And they just went and got Taylor. Is that his name, Taylor? They got another defensive back off the waiver wire to play nickelback.
Oh, good. Another useless corner who can't defend at all.
Well, let's take a look forward to this Steeler game and tell me how much, with a bad pass defense, or at least a pass defense that we're not used to, how's that going to affect us up against the Roethlisberger and that offensive arsenal? Pittsburgh
has a lot of new faces on that team. I realize that, but I think they're going to tear up our pass defense. In my opinion, I'm not sure who's going to win, but I think the final score will be something like 37-31.
Now, am I recalling correctly? Did Todd Haley leave to the Steelers, or is he still there as the offensive coordinator?
Todd Haley, he's defensive coordinator.
Or defensive coordinator. Well, who am I thinking of, the offensive coordinator for the Steelers?
I can't remember who that is, but I will tell you that I forgot his name. There is a former UW Husky that's their defensive coordinator right now. He used to be a linebacker. No. I can't remember anyway. But I don't know. Their offensive coordinator, I don't know his name, but he is the one that orchestrated this offense.
Okay, so it's still the same one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I would greatly fear this offensive attack still, even without Antonio Brown there.
I agree, because James Conner, I'm throwing that whole Patriots game out the window last week.
Yeah.
That was a first week, nothing was in sync.
It's the Patriots too.
And it's the Patriots, and the Patriots are well prepared, and the Steelers probably weren't.
Oh yeah.
And James Conner only got 10 carries.
That's not normal.
That's not normal. Schuster-Smith got the bulk of the passes, but it just wasn't the team that we saw last year, where Smith-Schuster got 1,500 yards, and Conner got 1,000 yards on the ground.
Yeah, I think I firmly believe Conner is basically, the next Le'Veon Bell, basically, in terms of he's going to be racking up stats all over the place like that too. It's that role. It's not necessarily the player. Yes, Le'Veon Bell's amazing, but Conner is really good too, and it's the role in that offense that just absorbs the stats. And don't ever count out Big Ben. Big Ben is a really great, truly great quarterback on the field, and we're character questions off the field notwithstanding, but I fear that passing offense, and the way we played this last week, it was like 440 yards or something for Dalton. I mean, Dalton is an adequate to above average slightly quarterback in the NFL. Ben Roethlisberger is a Hall of Famer, so look out.
Really quick, you mentioned Todd Haley earlier. He was the offensive coordinator through 2017.
Oh, no, okay, that was 2 years ago, though. Whoever they have right now is different.
I knew it was Todd Haley. Okay.
No, but not now.
Well, no. Okay, but the dude they have now is been there at least a year, so he's had time to gel with it.
Yeah, and that offense. Pittsburgh was really good last year, and I agree with you. It's going to be pretty good this year. Matthew Paige, you tend to focus on the. You tend to focus a lot more on the national scene for college football. I want to get your opinion on Devin Bush out of Michigan. He got 11 tackles last year as a rookie. Was this expected out of him as coming out of Michigan?
Yes, it was.
Okay, all right, I got my answer.
You wanted an answer, so I gave you one. No, he's a solid tackler, and I'm not surprised to see him having success immediately.
I thought he got a lot more attention than he deserved. Then again, I don't watch a lot of Big Ten football. For some reason, I only watch ACC and Pac-12.
Here in Seattle, the on the broadcast, for some reason on Saturday mornings we get ACC Network for no reason, and so we see a lot of random like Duke or Georgia Tech games or whatever at 10 a.m. on a Saturday when we'd rather be watching anyone else. But Bush, he was in Michigan. He learned from the best, a defensive guru, Mr. Harbaugh, and he blended in with a good team.
Weird, because he was a quarterback.
Why am I saying quarterback? What am I thinking? I'm thinking of a different person then.
No. I'm saying Harbaugh was a quarterback.
Oh, yeah, no, okay, yeah. No, I'm like, you got me confused. Yeah, Bush is, yeah, there we go. Okay.
But all of the teams that Harbaugh has always been very solid defensively.
Yes. He builds a really tough defense wherever he goes, and he's coached at the NFL level, and the kids are going there to Michigan to learn from a former NFL coach, and so he learned the NFL style from the get-go. So it doesn't surprise me that he's transitioned that well, that efficiently, that quickly.
Here's a question for you, Matthew Paige. TJ Watt is Jermaine Ifedi, who seems to be the next Bobby Ayala of Seattle, going to stop TJ Watt?
Wait.
What's his name? Is not Ifedi?
Let me translate that.
Yeah, I was confused.
TJ Watt of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes.
Brother to JJ Watt.
From Wisconsin, yes.
Is getting matched up against Jermaine Ifedi. Your thoughts?
There we go. My thoughts.
Thank you.
My thoughts are Ifedi is much improved. under an actual offensive line coach? No, he is. He's much improved under. He's not giving away whether it's a run play or a pass play anymore. He's not getting a false start penalty 5 times a game anymore. But he is going to get absolutely outmatched by T.J. Watt. T.J. Watt was a force to be reckoned with at Wisconsin. He's not quite as good as his brother, but he is still very impressive, very good.
Why are you a fan of Buffetti all of a sudden?
I'm not necessarily a fan of him. I just noticed that he has cleaned up his act. He has gotten better. I've noticed the improvement.
Even after one game, you think so?
It's been a season.
Well, I know. Well, I think he's regressed. I think he's Bobby Ayala numero
Bobby
dos.
Ayala?
Yeah, Bobby Ayala, if you all remember, he used to pitch for the Mariners, and Lou Piniella used to let him pitch in every damn game.
I got to support you on this one, Soulman. There was an incident earlier this week, or last week, I think it was, where he got into a fight with the defensive lineman in practice.
Interesting.
Okay, well, I'm not going to speak to his character because I don't know the guy personally, and I did not hear about this report. But as far as his play on the field, he has improved since when we first had him and when we had our prior Abraham's favorite offensive coach of all time, Tom Cable, and he definitely has improved under a real coach. But your question was, how will he match up? He'll get destroyed. Okay. That's my answer.
Yeah, they'll need to do something because there's also another good player on that defense. There's not very many, but Cameron Hayward I really like as a defensive tackle, and that's going to be a tough matchup.
I love Cameron Hayward. I love watching him play. He's very underrated, even though he was like a first-round draft pick and all that, but he gets lost in that Pittsburgh steel curtain or whatever they're calling it, whatever they call the steel curtain these days.
Cool. In our abbreviated show here today, we need to get moving on, and let's go to Brian Soulman Solack's favorite topic, Wazoo.
Oh, yes.
All right, we're done talking about Wazoo.
My God. Come on.
Hey, tell us, Solack, what do you think about the game that's going to happen here in about 45 minutes?
They're at Houston tonight, a rare Friday Night Lights game. This is going to be their first tough opponent of the young season. First 2 games was obviously they were just working out who's going to play what position, but their defense isn't looking too solid. I think tonight's going to be a high-scoring game. I think the final score is probably going to be something like 52-47 with the Cougars winning.
Wait. So you said this is your first hard opponent?
Our first difficult opponent of the young season, yes.
Okay, because I remember watching them play Oklahoma, and they didn't look too hard there.
Well, they still scored 31 points. Are you talking about Houston? Yeah, they put up 31 points against Oklahoma. I thought that was
I think you were talking about this is Wazoo's first difficult.
Yeah, correct, yes.
Yeah. But because you're right, Houston did play. They did play Oklahoma, got beat, looked okay for a half. They played, what was it, Prairie View?
Prairie View or Prairie State or something. Yeah, whatever.
But they did the same thing. They looked good for one half. They really let up off the throttle in that second half.
And I was researching their team. I mean, besides their quarterback, who reminds me of the guy from Arizona, which I can never remember his name, the Arizona starting quarterback this year, because he's a runner and a passer.
I'm going blank on it right now, too. I know exactly who you're talking about. Abe's got the name?
No, I don't have the name because I watched that stupid game against Hawaii and decided I don't need to know his name anymore.
Oh, no, you need to learn the Hawaii quarterback.
I need to learn but the quarterback you're talking about is Derek King for Houston.
Yeah. Yes.
And everything that I've read about him and the stats that I saw, he didn't look very good to me. I mean, he has a 60% completion percentage. He has, I don't know, just there was just a lot of averageness I saw about him. There was nothing interesting, intimidating, or anything to that effect.
No, yeah, he's more of a runner than a passer. So, but it's still kind of.
Are you saying he's no Case Keenum, University of Houston's greatest all-time quarterback?
Are you saying he's no David Klingler, another really great Houston quarterback? Are you saying he's no Andre Ware? Why do I know so many?
Oh, last time
Did they all play
Wazoo
for Detroit?
last time Wazoo beat Houston was against Andre Ware back in '88. By the way, in a bowl game. Just had to share that.
I do have a question for you, Soulman,
Yes.
regarding the Houston. One of the few things I know about Houston is that their cougar is prone to fights. So are we going to see some cougar mascot on cougar mascot action? Because I distinctly remember the Duck kicking the Cougars' ass on the sideline the last time the Oregon Ducks played Houston.
But that has nothing. Oh, they played Houston.
Yes, they played
okay.
Houston, and the two mascots actually got in a fist fight on the field, and the two guys inside the suits got suspended for a while, and the Duck won.
Okay.
And I'm curious if we're going to see a cougar versus a cougar tonight.
I don't know. Butch this year is kind of a.
All right, this is a ridiculous
jackass.
question.
Sorry,
Go
can I
ahead.
interrupt real
Tell
quick?
us how big a jackass your man is.
No, I just think another thing to watch tonight is Mike Leach is facing the coach of Houston, Dana Holgerson. They used to coach together on the sidelines at Texas Tech. There's a lot of history there.
Is he the guy who used to coach West Virginia?
Not West. I don't know if it was West Virginia, but
Khalil Tate, by the way, is that Arizona Wildcat
thank you.
quarterback. It's just interesting to me that Houston comes into this game with a lot of
West
hype.
Virginia? Okay.
I took a look at where they rank in a lot of places. Passing, not good. They're 26th in the nation in rushing, and they did get 238 yards last game. But I mean, again, that's against Prairie View A&M. I mean, do I care?
no, I agreed.
They're 219th in the country in points against.
That must include FCS teams.
Yeah, it must. They're 226th in passing yards per game.
I don't understand why any of the pundits think that this Houston team's any good. I'm predicting it's going to be bad times for the home team. Wazoo does have to go on the road. I mean, you got to say something about that.
Yeah, it's going to be a big test for them. And like I said earlier, and hopefully if anybody read my article, I did say the Cougars will win 52-47, but
Yeah, well,
you got to fill in the blanks which Cougars I'm talking about.
you're gonna no, you got to fill that in. It's your team.
You'll find out.
But I gotta say this: Houston has no pass defense. They have one player that's kind of a bright spot for them, and that's Jordan Moore. But this is a team that gives up double digits per pass attempt, and guess who has the number 2 yards per attempt through the air? That's your Wazoo Cougars.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Even though I know you're not a fan of our quarterback.
I'm not. Number 1, by the way, is Oklahoma, who threw up and down all over these Houston Cougars.
They got the Alabama.
Is this a home and home then? So is next year they're coming to Pullman?
Yeah. Yes. That's as far as I know. Yes.
Okay, I like that decision. I like that the challenge there. You know, you're playing somebody outside your normal comfort zone, and you know, sometimes these Cougars are good.
All right. Before we move on, I need to ask you, Matthew Paige, are you going to be okay if Gage throws a pass in the fourth quarter tonight because he did throw a fourth quarter pass last week?
Will the score be up by 50 points?
Well, we were up by 50 points last week, or close enough to where.
And
Gage,
I had a problem with it then.
You did,
Yeah.
even though it was your boy Gage.
For those listening, we when we were at the game in Pullman, I like to give Brian, the Soulman, a lot of crap because the Cougars are still passing the ball on like 3rd and
Yeah, you sure
2.
don't teach those Aggies from Mexico State.
Yeah, New Mexico State is down
you know
like
what?
60 points.
Does Northern Colorado have any business being on the same field
No.
as the almighty Cougars?
Absolutely.
So are you upset too? I mean, you're huge. You're like the Gage Gubroods. Did I say that right?
You did. You're
Oh
learning.
wow, I'm learning.
Way to go.
You're like the leader of the fan club. Are you okay that he passed in the fourth quarter?
Well, I mean, I hope that he gets a lot of pass attempts tonight, and maybe Anthony. What's Anthony Gordon? Jordan? Air Jordan, whatever his name is.
Gordon.
Maybe that guy who's been picking on teams that aren't up to his caliber. Maybe he sees like a real team one day.
That's what I think
and
tonight.
we'll actually get to see what he really is like. But it's not. Today's not a real team.
Yeah.
Houston's not a real team. I'm sorry. There's nothing I've seen that impresses me. I've watched clips from that Oklahoma game and looked at this box scores against Prairie View, A&M, wherever they are. And it's just not impressive. Wazoo's going to trounce them. All right, let's move on to the UW debacle last week and who they're facing this week.
It wasn't really a debacle. It was just a weather delay. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the game results?
The actual game results.
Okay.
So
we
here's...
can't really control the lightning storms. That's kind of beyond us.
God obviously hates UW playing late 7 o'clock games. And Peterson has been correct about this. This is why you don't play 7 o'clock games. Because lightning storms come along.
My gosh.
You have to play 10:30.
This is my question about the game. I still think UW is one of the top teams in the Pac-12 conference. These guys both sat for 2 to 3 hours. I know California they got a good coach and they always play well against UW. Is this going to make a difference in the rest of the season?
When you play in the Pac-12 North and you lose to a Pac-12 North team, that's losing a game and a half essentially. Okay. So in the event of a tie, if UW wins out and Cal just wins all their Pac-12 North games, Cal gets to go to the championship game.
Yep.
That's fair. That's what.
Yeah, so right now the Pac-12 North standings are Cal, then Wazoo, then Oregon, and UW is last in that division right now. They're behind Oregon State in the Pac-12 North right now.
You think that's going to last for long, though?
Well,
I understand what you're saying, but...
No. They're way better than Oregon State. But right now, because of the loss, yes, they like you said, they've dug themselves a bit of a hole, unfortunately.
But I see they can dig their way out of it. They're a darn good ball club. I think they're going to win the rest of their games until they play the Apple Cup, even though...
Yeah, well, you still got to play... you are correct. They're a good ball club. You have to play... Oregon, USC, Wazoo, and even though BYU can every once in a while sneak up on somebody, and you still got to play these games, and now you have to play them knowing you can't lose anymore.
And there's the impending losses to Oregon and Wazoo that are coming up on their schedule, so it doesn't bode well for them, unfortunately.
Oh well, once you get Justin Wilcox as a head coach, maybe you might beat UW. Yeah, you're not going to beat them this year.
Okay, like we didn't last year. I guess technically last year you beat yourselves.
Yeah, our place kicker beat us.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, really. Oregon gave you every opportunity to win that game, and you guys said no, please.
No, you
guys
win.
Take it. We're at your house. I do have to say this. We're at Autzen Stadium. We're at your house. You please.
UW has the one thing that they haven't had in a very long time. And that's Peyton Henry, who can now kick field goals. And one thing that I just want to quickly bring up, conversation point. Justin Wilcox has Peterson's number.
He's worked for him. He knows how he thinks.
He worked for him at Boise State, at UW, and he knows Peterson better than his wife knows him.
Well, you also have to. Okay, I don't know about that, but you also got to give credit. He's built an impressive defense there. It's not just that he knows he has Peterson's number. They're going to put up a very, very stern defense against every team they play this year.
That's right. I told you guys about Evans, that middle linebacker. He got 18 tackles.
No way.
Yeah.
What is he? Freshman, sophomore, junior?
I think he's a junior.
Oh my
god!
God!
I think he's a junior. Yeah.
Did he take over for that guy that Seahawks got in that position? No. Okay.
No. So yeah. Okay. You have a kicker. Well, congratulations. You're in the 1% of all college football teams. But games shouldn't. If you ask Trent Dilfer, games should never be involved. Kickers should never be involved. Kickers shouldn't even be part of the game. So you're good at the 1% of the game that shouldn't exist.
Before you answer that question, I'm going to say this. I did talk to Peterson's wife, and Wilcox does know him better.
Okay, fair enough. So quickly, we're running low on time here, so let's just take a look at what's going to happen against Hawaii. And this is actually a significant team to talk about because they beat Oregon State.
Yes.
They beat Arizona.
Yes.
And they're looking for the trifecta.
Yes, and they, I didn't catch the Oregon State game, but I caught the opener against Arizona, and they impressed the crap out of me.
Yeah, they're a darn good little team that's going to do make a little bit of noise. They are playing away from the home stadium, so there's something to be said about that.
Yeah.
And with one thing I really liked about them is they seem to play as if they don't care. We don't care who you are.
They kind of have an apathetic. They don't care who
Yeah.
you are. They can game with anyone, and they got a confidence to them. Yeah.
And they make a lot of errors. I saw that against the Arizona game. Interceptions, fumbles, that
Doesn't
sort of
matter
thing.
though. It really doesn't.
But you know what? They don't seem to care when they're behind, when they're up. It's just kind of the same. Like, all right, this is just a game.
You know what they have? They don't have a memory.
Yeah,
That's what they
Short
really
memory.
don't. It's like, the best players in the game, after they make a mistake, they shake it off, and it's how they react. And the whole team, for some reason, doesn't have a memory. And the coach should be proud of what he's built there. They've got a great and competitive team that can really take on some teams that they really shouldn't be able to beat, but they have been.
All right, guys. Again, this is a truncated show because we're going to go watch those Wazoo Cougars versus Houston Cougars. Which, by the way, did you know the Houston Cougars actually got their nickname from Wazoo?
I did not know that.
Yeah, there's a guy who used to work for Wazoo, went to Houston, and kind of just appropriated that nickname.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't explain the 12 other teams in the NCAA that have the Cougar name, but that is a little tidbit for you. I want to talk about a law that just passed in California, and this law, which unanimously passed in the state legislature, says that students are now allowed to take money when it comes to their likeness or image.
I am incredibly in support of this. It might lead down the course eventually to the NCAA football game being restored, which I miss greatly. But also
From a video game standpoint, yes.
but also I heard Tim Tebow took a very, very strong stance against this.
Oh my gosh, I know where this is going. If Tebow hates it, you must like it.
Well, no, I was going to make the point that I was so shocked to find out that a well-to-do rich white man from the South is against people who are working for free getting paid. There's some sort of historical parallel to that. I can't remember at the moment, but it just seemed to fit. It made sense.
Yeah, there are a couple things that Tebow said that made sense. The first is that people are more passionate about college football than they are the NFL, and I agree with that.
That's true.
I 100% agree with that. And part of that does have to do with the fact that the school is more important than the individual player.
Yes, but the thing is he also made the point. He made it sound like, well, players are only going to go where there's the most money. Well, he's acting like there's going to be a salary paid to these players. No. All it's doing is it's allowing, like, say, Nike to sign, a USC Trojan player and give him a shoe deal and have him make some money.
What's going to happen is the secret underculture. You see this in basketball a lot, where I thought the volume was off on that phone. With the secret underculture of boosters, from the local car lots, giving the star player a car that they had no business owning. See Billy Joe Hobart from 1992.
Yeah.
That becomes legal now.
Well, I was going to say it's just like it's already been happening. Look at Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush got caught with the USC already. Getting what they bought his family a house or something like that. Yeah. So they're already kind of doing it. This will at least bring it into light, and it'll be a little more on the grid and trackable, maybe
transparent.
And transparent. And the players who are working hard and having these schools profit off their image and their name. They get their own control over their own identity this way, and I like that.
There's going to be a bigger problem. Nobody's talking about this now, and that's the Title IX, and that is the ability for women to get paid the same as men in that field. Now, maybe this is going to go with the courts, is what I'm trying to say. Whether that passes or not, I don't know. I'm not a
Well, the NCAA has already come out and said that it's unconstitutional, which I don't think they understand what the Constitution is.
Well, no, that's what I'm talking about. It's Title IX. It doesn't.
Yeah, but it's not in the Constitution.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense.
That's my point.
It's illegal. Yeah.
Technically, their argument is that it's illegal, and then it destroys the balance and fairness of the game.
There is no balance and fairness to the game.
That was my point.
There's 8 teams in college football that have a serious claim to the throne.
Yeah, for college football, it's a totally ridiculously. It's all about money. Half
the teams in FBS aren't even eligible for the frickin' playoffs.
Oh yeah, and the other half that are eligible aren't going to make it anyway because they're not going to be rated high enough because either their games are too late or they're not popular enough.
Yeah.
And then there's teams like Notre Dame who haven't been legitimately good in for quite a while, but because they're Notre Dame and they're an institution, they're going to get chosen for bowl games and benefits that other teams aren't.
Now, what happens if the payments run amok and you end up into scenarios where there's players making excess at Alabama, USC, what have you, the top 20 teams in the country. Mm-hmm. And then you have teams like Wazoo or Oregon State that just can't compete.
Well, once again, it's about the player making individual deals with their sponsors and so forth. It's not necessarily the teams. It's, yes, your visibility will be increased if you're in Alabama and you're more likely to get a sponsorship. But you can be playing for San Jose State and get chosen by Nike to be a representative. It's not necessarily. It's not like the schools are handing out the money. It's going to be Nike and Adidas and Under Armour and all those teams and
Roy's used car lot,
Coca-Cola and all that stuff. But the argument you made earlier, and this is already happening.
It is already happening
in Alabama,
and that's why this doesn't bother me too much. But what happens if the NCAA stands by its guns and doesn't accept this? It just flat out says that any California team is automatically disallowed from being in the NCAA. Here's what I see. I'm going to answer my own question before you get to it. I almost see like maybe a schism, and it's separating.
Yeah.
Like the best teams in the country are just going to create their own conference.
Well, maybe, yeah. It might split the NCAA, or it might just split the West Coast off into our own. I mean, like Washington and Oregon might join. The whole Pac-12 might just go, all right, peace, we're out. We're going to go do our own thing, and we're not connected to the NCAA anymore, and we're going to go do our own thing.
Yeah.
And that could be a very real possibility. That'd be interesting to see. I don't know how that would impact the national scene.
It's so weird that players can have their jerseys sold in the bookstore, and
well, it's without a name.
Yeah, it doesn't have the name on it, but I mean, when you see Tim Tebow's number, he was something like the third highest selling jersey.
Yeah, you see a Florida Gators jersey that's whatever number he was.
Yeah, it was like behind, I think, like
3 or no,
whatever number he was. He was like behind Kobe Bryant and like Tom Brady.
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous. Like,
yeah, it's a Tebow jersey, but they're not allowed to put the name on there. But absolutely well that it is. I mean, I had a jersey from the Ducks that was number 1. It was DeAnthony Thomas. I bought it that year.
Matt's talking about the Ducks, so we must wrap up the show
Thomas.
Because the game is about to start in 10 minutes. The Wazoo versus Houston game. We'll have to sign off here. Thank you, Matthew Paige, for joining us. Thank you, Brian Soulman Solack, for joining us. Did you want to give a shout out?
Yeah, 2 quick things. Just because I need to say this, I want to give a shout out to the Huskies and the Hawaii, the cheerleading squad. My friend had his child was operated at Children's Hospital today, and the cheerleaders were there from both teams. And
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they made a huge impact. So I just wanted to share that. So props to them. And even though this is not state of Washington related, I wanted to give a shout out to Nick Solack of the Texas Rangers, who is, I'm researching it right now, but he is like a 4th or 5th cousin of mine.
Oh, nice.
So I'm hoping this will go viral, and next time he's up in town next year, hopefully we can meet up. But seriously, follow us on Twitter, Seattle Sports Union. And
check out our great articles at seattlesportsunion.com. And check out your Twitter too, right?
Yes, please. It's Soulman156 at Soulman156.
Great. Well, happy Friday the 13th, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Go Cougs.